Appreciate you joining me again. Hope you're doing well. We're going to be thinking about the account for the next two studies of Balaam. Today's hymn is the hymn, I Heard the Voice of Jesus Say. Not a familiar hymn. Perhaps you've heard it before, but let's take a listen.
I heard the voice of Jesus say, "Come unto me and rest. Lay down, thou weary one, lay down thy head upon my breast." I came to Jesus as I was, weary and worn and sad. I found in him a resting place, and he has made me glad.
I heard the voice of Jesus say. Let's look at the passage now, Numbers 22. Then the children of Israel moved and camped in the plains of Moab on the side of the Jordan across from Jericho. Now Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was exceedingly afraid of the people because they were many, and Moab was sick with dread because of the children of Israel. So, what ends up happening is they send messengers to Balaam, the son of Beor, verse 5, which is near the river, and they say, "Look, a people has come up from Egypt. They cover the face of the earth, and they are settling next to us, next to me. Therefore, please come at once, curse this people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that whom you bless is blessed, that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed." Just so this fellow knows that if that doesn't sound a whole lot like what the Lord says about Abraham, whoever blesses you, I will bless. Whoever curses you, I will curse. This fellow's not God. Anyway, back to the passage. And so they come to Balaam with the diviner's fee in their hand. He says, "Lodge here tonight. I'll bring back word to you." And the Lord comes and speaks to him. What's our hymn? I heard the voice of Jesus say. So the Lord speaks to Balaam and says, "Who are these men with you?" So Balaam said to God, "Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent to me, saying, Look, a people has come up out of Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come now, curse them for me. Perhaps I shall be able to overpower them and drive them out." God says to Balaam, "You shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed." So Balaam arose in the morning and said to the princes of Balak, "Go back to your land, for the Lord has refused to give me permission to go with you." And the princes of Moab rose and went to Balak and said, "Balaam refuses to come with us." Balak sent princes more numerous and more honorable than they, and they came to Balaam and said to him, "Thus says Balak the son of Zippor, please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say to me. Therefore, please come, curse this people for me." So the intent is clear. He wants the people cursed. That's what he wants. Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, "Though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I would not go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. Now therefore, please you also stay here tonight, that I may know what more the Lord will say to me." And God came to Balaam at night and said to him, "If the men come to call you, rise and go with them. But only the word which I speak to you, that you shall do." And so Balaam rose in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. Then God's anger was aroused because he went. We'll stop reading there. Why was God's anger aroused? God had told him, here in verse 20, "If the men come to call you, rise and go with them." Well, why, when he goes, is the Lord angry? And what I would suggest is, it's pretty obvious, Balaam really wants to go, even though earlier God had told Balaam, "You shall not go with them." That's the thing. Like, were you not listening the first time? Balaam says when they come back the second time and they offer him anything he wants, right? They go back and Balak sends princes more numerous and more honorable. "Let nothing hinder you from coming to me. I will honor you greatly." And it's, wait a minute. Like Balaam, the Lord told you, don't go with them. Don't have anything to do with this. The Lord told you that. Were you not listening? And so they come back with their entourage and with their promises. And Balaam says, well, let me ask him again. The intent has not changed. They want Balaam to curse these people. That's what they want. And Balaam said, well, let me see if that's really what he wants. If he really wants me not to go. And then the Lord says, well, you can go, but don't go beyond what I say. And then Balaam goes, and the Lord's mad. It's like, were you not listening? And I was thinking about the parable of the sower. It's like, were you not listening the first time? And, the first soil is the wayside. And it's like it just goes in one ear and out the other. And it's you have to receive with meekness the implanted word. And the Lord is talking to you, Balaam. The Lord is talking to you. Jehovah's talking to you. And he tells you, don't go. And you come back the second time and say, are you sure about that? Some folks just don't listen. Other folks, they listen, but it's just on the surface. It's just on the surface. There's no root there. But I'm not sure that's really Balaam's problem, but that's a lot of people's problem. They don't develop any roots. They hear it, they believe for a little while, but in times of trial, they fall away. But I'm not sure that's Balaam's problem. I think Balaam was listening. I think the problem goes into the third group in the parable of the sower. Because the New Testament has a good bit to say, has at least two or three passages that talk about Balaam. And it talks about how greedy he was. He really wanted that honor. He really wanted that gold and that silver. He really wanted that stuff. And that's the third group in the sower. Like, yeah, you heard the Lord. You heard what he said. But the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches and the desires for other things, it can choke the word out. It can choke the word out. And I think that's Balaam. He's going to end up going on and he's going to bless the people, but it sure isn't out of the love of the Lord. And he's going to obey as far as that goes. He's going to bless the people. But when you look right after the account in chapter 25, you see, and you start putting all the pieces together, you see that Balaam, he obeyed up until chapter 25. Or up until chapter 24. Through chapter 24, keeps blessing the people and just drives Balak crazy. And then they figure out another way to get Israel. It was going to be through the marriages. You can read the first part of chapter 25 on your own. But my point is this. Balaam never really wanted to obey God. He was trying to find a way around it, and he finally thought he found it. So he obeyed for a time, not because he loved the Lord, probably scared of what the Lord was going to do to him. We'll talk about the donkey tomorrow. But his obedience is quickly going to give way to disobedience. And it's a sad state of affairs. So what we have to ask ourselves is, when the Lord speaks to us, what will our reaction be? We going to receive it with meekness? Going to just be on the surface? Are we going to allow the cares of the world to choke it out? When the Lord speaks, are we going to listen? Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.